Meet Asle and Spied, a young couple in 90s Hamburg. The film begins with the pilot sharing a heartfelt letter with his co-pilot, a term he uses for his wife like an endearment. He's aiming for his wife to feel proud, both of her husband and herself. Now we switch to Asle at the carnival, riding the whirlwind of fun with her friends. They buckle up for a ride, and there's this boy, Spied, who strolls out like he owns the place. Kids laugh at him, but when the ride kicks off, he shoots them a sly smile. Spied's a bit different, doing his thing no matter what others think or say. Asle is a medical student. Their day starts with some cadaver action, slicing into skin and all. Post-class, it's party time, drinks, friends, and soaking in that typical university life. They decide to spice things up with a game of truth or dare. The bottle points to Spied, and he opts for truth. However, his peers find it a bit dull, deeming him no fun. Pressured to spill some regrets, Spied initially denies any remorse. Yet after a bit of nudging, he regrets his choice to study dentistry in Germany. His peers assure him that he'll craft beautiful smiles, but Spied humorously retorts that Germans don't smile much, making dentists somewhat useless. He throws in a cultural twist, mentioning how Lebanese folks are more prone to flashing those pearly whites. The conversation takes a political turn as they delve into the complexities of their home country. Although the war officially ended in 1990, the lingering animosity between people persists. The bottle then points to Asle, and she picks truth. Spied prods her about the most dangerous thing she's done, and she spills about playing the pass-out game at 14. Asle reluctantly agrees to demonstrate the game to Spied's persistent requests. She instructs him to breathe shallowly and quickly, starting to apply pressure around his neck. Spied theatrically passes out, and their peers teasingly claim he just wants to cuddle. Spied's been on a mission to lift Asle's spirits throughout the night. Spied and Asle just met each other, so Spied is trying to make moves on Asle. Spied made a very good paper puzzle. Asle sees through it, then Spied suddenly strips down to his undergarments for skinny dipping. Since they are in Germany, they copy the German style of swimming. Asle reveals she is Turkish, so she's not doing skinny dipping, and urges him to put back his pants on. Asle rides on Spied's back while they horse around in the water. They start to develop feelings for each other as they get comfortable having fun. They kiss lightly. After a year, Asle and Spied are now a couple and are intending to get married. Spied announces their engagement to his parents and the whole family. His whole family is ecstatic, so they invite Asle to come to Lebanon. Spied proudly says that Asle will cure cancer in the future. But Asle has exams left and wants to save money. It is revealed that Spied wanted to become a pilot and not a dentist. But his mother says something negative about Spied's choice and dreams, degrading him, saying that no woman wants a pilot as a husband, as they are never home. Asle notices that Spied is sad about it. Spied reveals to his fiancée that he always dreamed of flying, but his mother does not agree with it. He repeats that his mother thinks it's a good hobby but not a good job, so he will not act on that dream. Asle, though, convinces him that it's not yet too late to go for it. Spied asks Asle if she wants to be his co-pilot. They play around, acting like they are both pilots of a plane, complete with Asle acting as the plane's wings. Both of them enact pilot announcements, radio towers, and so on. They play like children. We can see that Asle is a bit of a serious one and grounded in reality, but Spied is more like a child who is a daydreamer. Both are excited about their new life as they become intimate. Later on, while delving deep into a cadaver, the team endeavors to explore the intricacies of the human nerve. Amidst this, Asle broaches the topic of cultural conflict within their relationship. Despite the potential obstacles, Asle contemplates moving in with Spied. However, a significant hurdle arises, as Asle's family may hold reservations about Arab relationships. Undeterred, Asle makes her way to the mosque to entice Spied away. However, Spied, deeply rooted in the community, expresses a desire to stay longer. After some persuasion from Asle, she manages to sway Spied, and drops the bombshell that her mother is on her way. Asle is eager to introduce her future husband to her mother, adding an unexpected twist to their unfolding story. In the apartment, as Asle busies herself with cleaning, her mother engages in playful interaction with Horsey, the cat. Asle's friends, also present as dorm mates, encourage her to disclose the news of her impending marriage to her mother. Amid the domestic scene, Asle hesitantly reveals to her mother that she is moving in with Spied. However, a misunderstanding arises as her mother initially believes Spied to be a girl. Eventually confessing the truth about Spied being a guy, Asle's mother experiences a near breakdown, struggling to breathe. In an attempt to alleviate her mother's distress, Asle fabricates a story, falsely claiming that Spied has a girlfriend, and assuring her that the feared scenario won't happen. Exiting the dormitory, Asle spots Spied waiting, signaling him to stay put and not follow. The worry etched on Asle's face hints at an impending issue. Ignoring Asle's silent plea, Spied follows them and approaches Mrs. Bilgen, Asle's mother. Introducing himself, Spied remains oblivious to Asle's lie. Mrs. Bilgen questions Spied about the supposed girlfriend, leaving him perplexed. Spied tries to make a favorable impression, highlighting his academic achievements and family background, unbeknownst to him that Asle has kept him a secret. However, when he mentions being from Lebanon in Arab, Mrs. Bilgen disapproves, instructing him to leave. Asle, caught in the lie, urges Spied to leave them alone. Persistently, Spied endeavors to convince Mrs. Bilgen of their shared Muslim identity, an impending marriage. However, Mrs. Bilgin interprets Seed's actions as rudeness, assuming he's proposing to Asle on the street without involving his family. Asle attempts to clarify the misunderstanding, but Seed's persistent efforts transform into perceived disrespect for family dynamics. Frustrated, Asle walks away, trailing her mother and sister. In the building, Asle and their peers wait for Seed. The couple finally arrives, yet a palpable silence hangs in the air, with Asle and Seed avoiding conversation. The building, aged and deserted, becomes the backdrop for their ambitious plan to transform it into a restaurant. However, the financial hurdles of renovating such a dilapidated structure loom large. Amidst the discussions, Fairs drops a bombshell. He plans to drop out of college, opting to follow his heart and pursue his own desires. Asle, concerned about Fairs' parents' reaction, seeks clarification. Seed, however, intervenes boldly, insisting that Fairs can make decisions without parental approval. Asle, choosing to overlook Seed's comment, presses Fairs further. Tensions escalate when Seed, frustrated, accuses Asle of keeping him a secret and lying. Despite Asle's apologies, Seed brushes them off. Fairs steps in to calm the situation. Seed implores Asle to fight for their relationship, but she retaliates. Asle points out that Seed, too, isn't fighting for his dreams, exposing a shared struggle between them, and challenging Seed to reflect on his own actions. Another year unfolds, and their friend ties the knot with Fairs, successfully launching the restaurant, La Corniche. The once decrepit building now stands transformed into a stunning event hall and restaurant. However, Seed and Asle's relationship takes a downturn. At the reception, they maintain a chilly silence, despite Asle's desire to reconnect. Seed remains distant, delivering a weighty speech at Fairs and his wife's celebration, emphasizing the pursuit of dreams and making the seemingly impossible possible. A subtle jab at Asle. Amidst the Lebanese wedding traditions, Seed and Asle share a dance. As the day winds down, they revisit the beach where they once frolicked playfully. However, when Asle attempts to deepen their connection, Seed rebuffs her advances, leaving her visibly upset. Asle decides to move to a new place, facing resistance from her uncle, who finds it unsettling. Despite the concerns, Asle sees the new place as affordable and conveniently close to college. Before parting ways, the truth about Seed and Asle's strained relationship surfaces. They decide to stop seeing each other, influenced by Asle's mother's strong disapproval of Seed. Asle, in an attempt to shield herself, fabricates a lie, claiming they no longer meet. Now on her own, Asle receives a voice message from Seed, expressing his inability to visit due to academic commitments in Hamburg, studying aviation and aircraft. Alone, Asle shares her new space with her cat Horsey. Asle persists and surprises Seed with a visit to his apartment, catching him off guard. Nevertheless, Seed welcomes her and proudly introduces her to the other guys as his girlfriend. As it turns out, they are still dating, just keeping it from Asle's parents to avoid any upset. It appears they have reached some resolution. The friends playfully challenge Asle with a matchstick puzzle, and despite the distraction, she cleverly uses it as an excuse to smoke. While Seed is immersed in studying plain craft plans, Asle disrupts him, but Seed remains focused. Unnoticeably, their connection seems to be wearing down. Seed shares that he can no longer bear living in secrecy. He longs for a normal life. Asle struggles to accept this, yet she desires change. In a symbolic gesture, Asle takes a red ribbon and ties it around Seed's hips, reciprocating the act. This symbolic wedding tradition binds them together. They discreetly enter a mosque, with Asle in a wedding gown and Seed in a suit, seeking the services of an imam, a Muslim priest, where they exchange vows and marry secretly. Returning home, they immediately consummate their marriage in the apartment hallways, still fully clothed. Seed follows this intimate moment with prayer. In their third year together, they joyfully welcome Fairs' new child. However, tensions arise at the hospital when it's revealed that Fairs' uncle offered money, which Fairs, driven by pride, refuses, opting to work double instead. Seed, with a different perspective on money, becomes a killjoy, creating a less pleasant atmosphere. He questions Fairs' decision, advocating for accepting the offered money rather than resorting to a loan. His demeanor takes a turn for the worse as he brings up sensitive topics like German guilt over Jews, and delves into political discussions, asserting the correctness. Tensions escalate, leading to a heated exchange between Seed and Asle's friend, all while the baby cries. In defense of Seed, Asle storms out with him. Outside, they smoke, despite Asle's coughing. Seed, sensing tension, asks if Asle is upset, but she remains silent. Later, as Seed talks to a friend, Asle waits, noticing Seed's happiness but feeling excluded from the introduction. Pressing him about it, she wonders if Seed is embarrassed by her. Seed's attitude becomes problematic and he begins to gaslight Asle, confronting her about smoking. Asle, suspicious of Seed's secretive behavior, checks his messages on his mobile while he sleeps. She becomes increasingly uneasy about his hidden activities, unfamiliar acquaintances, and early morning departures, raising doubts about the transparency in their relationship. One night, she decides to follow Seed as he ventures into the woods. There, she spots Seed in a phone booth. Upon exiting, he discovers that Asle has followed him. Seed accompanies her home, and when asked about his late-night phone call, he dismisses it as just a chat with a friend. Despite Asle's curiosity, Seed denies any further explanation. As Asle persists in unraveling the mystery, Seed becomes increasingly erratic, especially upon discovering Asle snooping around his mobile. It turns out that Seed is heading to Yemen to aid in a war. Feeling spied upon, Seed grows angry, but Asle, distressed, threatens to leave if he goes. Seed, torn, declares his love for Asle, but insists on fulfilling his commitment, bound by a promise to keep it a secret. As Seed packs his bags, Asle disapproves. Seed, however, reassures her, claiming this decision to be the best. To soften the blow, Seed reveals a plane ticket to Beirut, inviting Asle to meet his family and explore the city. Despite her reluctance, Asle abides by their vows in front of the imam, agreeing to keep Seed's secret. With that, Seed departs for Yemen. Days later, Asle goes on a flight to Beirut to meet Seed. Upon arrival, she meets with Seed's mother and sister, Rana, both of whom warmly welcome her. Seed, however, is notably absent, and none of them are aware of his whereabouts. Despite the family's excitement for Asle's visit, Seed's mysterious absence leaves them puzzled. Rana remarks that Seed has a tendency to do things in his own way, leaving the family anticipating his arrival. Asle is taken from the airport to Seed's family house. Sulema, Seed's mother, is really worried about Seed, so she attempts to reach out to him, but no calls are returning. Meanwhile, the streets of Lebanon are crowded with soldiers, creating an unusual atmosphere. Finally, they arrive at an opulent-looking house, suggesting Seed's apparent success. Asle is introduced to Seed's extensive family, all of whom seem amicable. Sulema, Seed's mother, sensing something amiss, queries Asle about any issues. She urges Asle to reveal Seed's whereabouts and the nature of the problem. However, Asle is bound by her vow of secrecy and cannot disclose the details. Frustrated, Sulema expresses her displeasure and descends, visibly upset. In Seed's room, Asle checks out bits of his childhood, just like he said. The view is amazing. Looking down, she sees the family celebrating. Later, Asle dozes off and wakes up to find another version of herself. The copy heads into a closet, vanishing and leaving behind only Seed's clothes. Furious and upset, Asle throws a fit, breaking things and crying. Sulema catches her, invites her downstairs, and the family seems to be dealing with the problem, a sharp contrast to the earlier celebration. Seed's father makes her sit while the family questions her, but she stays tight-lipped, claiming she doesn't know where Seed is. Rana shows up later with some info. They call Fairs, but Asle tells them he's clueless too, mentioning the argument between Seed and Fairs over religious differences. Seed didn't like that Fairs served alcohol in his restaurant. The family is more worried now, and Sulema is concerned as Asle sticks to her story, saying she genuinely doesn't know where Seed is. The family is laughing about it, because they don't believe Seed dislikes alcohol. However, the situation turns serious when they realize Asle hasn't seen Seed in almost 9 weeks. Asle shows a letter from Seed written in Dutch, expressing his longing for her and his desire to have a child with her. As they inspect the letter, it becomes clear that Seed is in Yemen. Now the family is thrown into panic, paranoia, and chaos. They question Asle about why she didn't mention Seed being in Yemen. Some suggest involving the police, but Asle protests. Sulema convinces Asle that they will take action to find Seed. Asle decides to change her flight and search for Seed on her own. Sulema calms down the family, deciding that Asle will no longer say anything about the matter. Asle returns to Germany and heads to the mosque. Due to language barriers, she seeks out an imam, but finding Dutch-speaking assistance, she talks to another individual. Asle inquires about Seed, only to discover that they haven't seen him since their wedding. Asle visits every mosque in the city, extending her search to places frequented by Arabs, yet yields no results. She even reaches out to Arabs across Hamburg, asking if anyone has seen him. Later, when she returns home, her mother, unaware of her marriage, inquires about her troubles. Mrs. Bilgen, oblivious to Asle's marital status, suggests that Asle meet another man. The 4th year kicks in, and Asle is busy in the lab, being a top student. At home, feeding Horsey, a light knock startles her, revealing Seed on the other side. She hugs him, but soon gets mad for him just showing up. Slamming the door, she cries. Seed talks through the door, saying he couldn't call, only write letters. He convinces her to open up, bringing gifts, but she's still angry. Asle notices bruises on Seed's body, worrying about what the war did to him. Seed promises not to leave again, to stay in Hamburg, train as a pilot, and start over. Asle stays mad. At night, Asle watches him sleep. In the morning, the doorbell rings. It's Seed's friend. They argue, and Asle urges Seed to call the police. Worried about danger, Seed reassures her everything's okay. Asle keeps smoking and coughing, and they drink together. Seed is trying to mend things, but Asle seems unfazed. Asle gets more alcohol, and though Seed doesn't drink, she forces him to. Going out, looking sensual, she tells Seed she's meeting a guy friend from the lab class. Seed doesn't do anything to stop her, and Asle ends up vomiting by the rubbish bins. Her misbehavior is an act to push Seed away. Tobias tells her that Seed ran away before, and deserves such treatment. Asle insists that Seed loves her, but he hasn't said anything about what happened in Yemen. It's been 4 months since Seed returned, and they are always fighting. Seed arrives, called by Tobias. A bit of a fight ensues, as Tobias insults Seed while trying to retrieve his jacket. Asle, drunk and unsteady, holds Seed's hand at the curb, seemingly patching things up. The next day, Seed surprises Asle by buying a new table. They ponder the idea of starting a family together, playfully pretending what it would be like if they had kids. However, the mood changes when Seed drops the news that he's been offered training for flying in Florida. Despite upsetting Asle, Seed has to accept it, due to the incredible opportunity. Now in the 5th year, Asle reunites with old friends, especially Fairs and his family. Fairs reveals a surprising twist: Seed is actually the one funding Asle's training. This is news to Fairs, since Seed always portrayed America as evil and bad for Muslims, causing Fairs to lie to Seed's parents. In the midst of winter, Asle, despite warnings, braves the cold water for a refreshing bath. Soon she arrives in Florida, meeting an Americanized Seed with a convertible car, looking quite fancy. They explore Florida together, with Seed introducing Asle to a whole new world. He takes her to the garage where he's training to fly a plane, and introduces her to the American trainers. Seed, now a licensed pilot, invites Asle to be his co-pilot on commercial flights soon. Seed showcases his impressive new flying skills to Asle as the plane takes off. He takes her on a tour around Florida, showing her the city, pointing out the apartments he lived in, and exploring the seas and islands. Encouraging Asle, Seed insists she takes control of the plane, guiding her to hold onto the control yoke. Asle is ecstatic at the opportunity to experience flying firsthand. While swimming in the water, Asle's coughing is so disturbing that Seed makes her promise to see a doctor. Seed shares a story with Asle about Melanesia, an island where Americans arrived with planes, becoming like gods to the natives. Asle, inspired, asks if they can live in Boston, where she found a research center for brain disorders. They share a kiss after Seed expresses that anything is possible. Asle goes for a checkup, but it turns into a hospital stay. Seed calls to check on her, and she's transferred through a gurney, prepped for surgery due to an issue with her lungs. Tubes, tape, and medical paraphernalia are applied before the surgery begins. After the operation, Asle is left alone in her hospital room, trying to call Seed, but unable to reach him. She wanders the hospital, finding it practically empty. In the lounge, a TV announcement about a perfect act of unfolds: the 9/11 attacks. The news reveals the perpetrators are from the Middle East, increasing Asle's anxiety. She leaves immediately and returns home to find messages from the Florida Training Center, urging her to call back, adding tension to an already unsettling situation. Asle calls Seed, but he doesn't answer. She goes to a police office in Rostock, reporting Seed missing and urging them to call him. However, she's directed to contact the embassy. Unyielding, Asle persists until the officers assist her in making the call to the flight center and the trainers, particularly Kyle. Kyle reveals that the FBI is searching for Seed and, given his disappearance, he is now a person of interest for the authorities. The officers pick up this information, and Kyle asks Asle about the last time she spoke to Seed, especially on the day before the attack. Seed, however, called from America, not Germany. Shockingly, Kyle informs Asle that the FBI believes Seed flew the plane that the World Trade Center, and likely isn't alive anymore. Asle drops the phone in disbelief. The next few days, she is moving back to her mother's home, and while on the bus, everyone is talking about the attack. Her mother speaks ill of Seed, claiming it's a good thing Asle left him, which is something that didn't happen. Though she reprimands her mother to stop, she can't admit her true relationship with Seed, and stays silent instead. The next scene shows Asle with a brand new hairstyle, as she walks into a government building in Germany to request witness protection. However, government officials inform her that this choice means a completely new life, no contact with family and friends, sacrificing her future, and leaving her research team. Asle receives a box containing all her mementos from Seed. Exiting, she heads to the elevator, but instead of adhering to the agreement, she returns the package to them. But she steals a letter inside it from Seed. The letter speaks of his departure, but promises a future reunion. But not in a normal reunion. He means meeting again in another life. It reads like a letter, expressing gratitude for their 5 years of marriage. The letter tells about Seed's full intention of committing a The letter serves to be evidence of it, and so Asle keeps it. As Asle reads, the reflections in the mirror show different actions, with her 4 reflections looking back at her.